All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you are new. Thanks for checking the video out today. We have something a little bit different, not necessarily PlayStation news per se, but something that I do think is relevant to PlayStation players and certainly extremely relevant to Xbox players. Something that has been a topic of discussion in recent months is the competitive nature of the console gaming business and industry, and just, the overall competition between Sony and Microsoft. And recently we saw what happened with Redfall. I'm not going to be discussing that in this video, but there is something else that we do need to discuss, and that is the recent interview that the head of Microsoft Gaming and the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, did, where he said some very interesting things that honestly a lot of people are not really happy about. So we're going to dive into that, guys. Make sure you leave the video a like if you enjoy it or find it informative, and subscribe if you're new. So one of the questions that Phil Spencer was asked during this interview is what role the Xbox console plays in Microsoft's wider gaming vision. And his answer, I think, surprised quite a few people, and you're likely already seeing headlines being written up, but I'm actually going to play his response for you so you can hear exactly what he has to say.
Lost the focus or maybe put too much onto the PC side? Do you think that the console is still getting the console love that it deserves, whether it be the homepage update, achievements, of course, looking forward and using the power of this next gen? Do you think you guys have lost that focus, or is it still there, and can we see more love on that side?
Well, we'll definitely continue to focus on making our console experience as great as it can be. I like the homepage refresh and some stuff. I will say, this might be disruptive as well. We have a different vision. Paris talked about this. It's play the games you want with the people you want anywhere you want. We want Xbox to be something that people who buy our console can feel like they're a member of. Obviously, who are playing on PC, who are playing on cloud, that they feel like they're full members of our ecosystem. Game Pass players can play on many different devices, and we remain fully committed to that. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter is that when you're third place in the console marketplace and the top two players are as strong as they are and have, in certain cases, very, very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that will that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team. That's on us, not on anybody else. Our vision is that everybody who's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and they're a first-class citizen. They've invested a ton in our platform. But we are not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games. So when you go and you're building on Xbox, we want our Xbox community to feel awesome. But this idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think doesn't really lay into the reality of most people. Like 90% of the people every year who walk into a retailer to buy a console are already a member of one of the three ecosystems, and their digital library is there. This is the first generation where the big games that they're playing were games that were available last gen. When you think about Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft, like the continuity from generation to generation is so strong. I see a lot of pundits out there that kind of want to go back to the time where we all had cartridges and discs and every new generation was a clean slate and you could switch the whole console share. That's just not the world that we are in today. There is no world where Starfield's an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not going to happen. So what we have to do, and we have this unique vision because we see what creators want to do. Creators want to build games that can meet players on any screen. People play with their friends regardless of what other screen they're on. And the console is the core of the Xbox brand. There's no doubt. So like we will stay focused on making sure that console experience is awesome. But I know some people want to hold us up of just being a better green version of what the blue guys do. And I'm just going to say, like, there's not a win for Xbox in staying in the wake of somebody else. We have to go off and do our own thing with Game Pass, with the stuff we do with xCloud, and the way we build our games. Sorry, I was a little long-winded.
Okay, so that was a pretty in-depth answer that we just got from Phil Spencer. And I think it's safe to say that no one was really expecting this type of response from Phil Spencer. Some of the things he touched upon, obviously, him as well as everybody at Microsoft, they've been talking about for a long time, obviously, how they want to reach a wider gaming audience. And we've all known for a long time that Microsoft is not just focused on the console experience. But one of the craziest things that he said in this interview, and I'm sure many of you already picked up on, is where he said something along the lines of, it's not just, oh, we make a bunch of great games and suddenly console market share shifts in some big dramatic way. He talks about being in third place and basically saying that Sony and Nintendo are too powerful, and really taking this defeatist angle and this defeatist mindset, but really hammering it home and running with it and clearly trying to convey a message. And out of everything that Phil Spencer has said here, I think when he talks about like the digital game ecosystem and how they lost the most important console generation, I think there is certainly truth to all that. But it is absolutely wild to not only me, but I think many, many other gamers out there, and certainly many Xbox fans, to hear Phil Spencer essentially come out and say that even if we make really great games consistently, that's not going to be enough to sell enough consoles to gain market share in even a significant way. I think that Phil is way off the mark here, and I think we all feel this way because that's just not how it has ever worked in this industry. What he's saying, in fact, the exact opposite has always been true. Anytime a console manufacturer, or a platform holder for that matter, but specifically talking about console and hardware, anytime they have put out very high quality, what would be considered must-play content, attention-grabbing content, and they do so on a consistent basis, they notice that that exact thing happens, a significant shift in console market share. This is absolutely insane to be hearing, because I just got done listening to multiple Xbox influencers express how they're really fed up with Microsoft at this point. You know, still after all this time getting a game like Redfall, all this, pressure being just on Starfield. And a lot of Xbox fans feel that Microsoft has spent way too much time focusing on the Activision Blizzard deal, and they are now ready to see Microsoft get aggressive, come out, start, showing off some great games and giving people a reason to want to go out there and buy the Xbox console. And if not buy the Xbox console, really support the Xbox brand in a big way. And there's this just kind of strange dichotomy in what Phil Spencer's saying here, because on one hand, he's trying to make it sound like the Xbox console is like at the center of the Xbox brand and is some kind of big focus, but he then goes on to essentially explain why they're not really that focused on the console and why they're not putting everything they have into the console, and how it really is just about reaching a wider gaming market. He mentions PlayStation multiple times, and he says something along the lines of, "Oh, it's we don't just want to be the green version of what Team Blue does," and it's like, I just find that quite shocking, because it's almost like it's not even that they're just admitting defeat here; it's that they're making it clear they don't even want to try. And we talk about competition. To me, this is literally the opposite of competition. This is Microsoft doing exactly what I thought they were doing from the start, which is they don't want to actually compete with Sony and Nintendo. They want to create a whole new market, a market that they lead, a market where they have the majority or the lion's share of the market share. And they're going to create that all on their own. And they're going to do so by buying publishers and, creating something like Game Pass and making Game Pass the center focus. It's pretty crazy to actually hear Phil Spencer just come out and speak this candidly to not only this group of podcasters where they got this interview, but to the entire Xbox community and the entire gaming community for that matter. It's just so insane to me. He even said something along the lines of, even if Starfield were to be an 11 out of 10 game, it's not like people are just going to suddenly go sell their PS5s and buy Xboxes. Phil, I think you're absolutely correct in that. And there's no doubt that, Sony putting out good games of their own and a lot of people investing into these digital ecosystems, I don't think anybody is expecting people to get up and go sell their PlayStation 5s to then go purchase an Xbox Series X. But I think the expectation is once you deliver that type of great game, like the 10 out of 10 experience relatively consistently, that's going to make pretty much every PS5 owner say, wow, I got to go get an Xbox Series X as well and support this console because they're also making great games. The fact that Phil Spencer is completely not only undermining that fact, but basically trying to explain to people that that's just not a thing that happens, he's just flat out wrong. And that's what's crazy to me about this is what he's saying. We've only seen literally the opposite happen throughout the entire history of the gaming industry. So this is why I wanted to cover this and how it's relevant to PlayStation, because I'll tell you right now, I don't want to see a gaming landscape where PlayStation doesn't have a serious competitor. Okay? What Phil Spencer said when he brought up we don't just want to be the green version of what Team Blue does. I would hope that to some degree you do, because Sony needs that competition. The fans want that competition. That's what's going to keep Sony in check. It's what's going to keep them going, even further, trying even harder. And to just get this completely defeatist, frankly, pathetic interview and mindset and response from Phil Spencer is kind of mind-boggling. I don't know what exactly I expected from the first Phil Spencer interview after Redfall, but believe me when I tell you, I did not expect this type of response. I did not see this coming. And if you listen to what a lot of the Xbox enthusiasts are saying, they weren't expecting it either. So I wanted to take time to make this video and share this with you guys. I'm going to be very curious to see what you guys had to say in the comments below. So leave your thoughts, leave the video a like if you enjoyed it or found it informative, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.